So today we're going to take a moment to look through the website, and I'm going to point out some things that are available on the website of where you can find them, like the pay dates and how to get the notifications along with the payout schedule that they send out every Wednesday into your email box. And then we're also going to talk about MSTY and PLTY. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today we're going to do a little review of the website just for those newer people out there who may not fully understand where things are at. So we're going to look and we're going to find where you can get those pay dates from the website, and also how you can request that payout sheet that I show every Wednesday that shows how much YieldMax pays out for each ETF, so that you can have that as well. But most importantly, we're also going to look at MSTY and PLTY. We're going to take a look to see if there are any supports and resistances that we're going to be looking for next week. So let's just go ahead and we'll start right off with the overall YieldMax website. And I will have this video in chapters. So if you're already quite familiar with the website, then you can go ahead and skip this and jump right over to the talk about MSTY and PLTY. But for those out there who have been asking some of the questions about the items that are available at the website, let's just go ahead and take a look at that. So we are on the YieldMax ETF website now. The website is YieldMaxETFs.com, and you can search for that and find this website here. And as you can see, this is the home page. So if you just hover over the Our ETFs tab up here at the top, you'll see that you'll have a lot of drop downs here. Now these are all of the different types of YieldMax bundles, I guess you can say, because they have a covered calls ETF, they have funds of funds, ultra, short option, target 12, Dorsey Wright, portfolio ETFs, zero DTE, and UCITs. So there are quite a few to pick from here. So the ones that we mostly deal with are MSTY, PLTY, and such. And those are all in the YieldMax covered calls ETFs. And you can see there's Tesla, there's CONY, NVDY, and so forth. And we can scroll right on down here and you'll see here's MSTY. And if we keep going down, you'll see there's PLTY, which uses Palantir. MSTY uses Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, MSTR. So from that point, you can click any of these and you can look at their sheets, information. So if we click MSTY, that takes us to the MSTY ETF right here. And there's the distribution rate, and we talked about that the other day. And we can scroll right on down. And here are the distribution details. This shows all the distributions that it has paid out over a period of time and the pay dates, right? So you can look here and you'll see the pay dates and how much it paid on that date. You do have some of the fund information here, the net assets, the NAV, shares outstanding, and so forth. All of this information is available for each ETF on the YieldMax website. They do show some of the holdings on the site itself. As you can see right here are some of the holdings. But to see a more comprehensive list, you can download all holdings, and that will download a spreadsheet so that you can look and you can check out to see which ones are actually open and at what prices, if you want to dive into that level of detail. And of course, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and this is on any of the pages, you can see this contact us right here, and you can click this here, or it is also at the top tab. If I scroll back up, contact right here, and if you click this one, or that one at the bottom. It takes you to the same page here. And this just asks if you're interested in the YieldMax ETFs. You fill this form out with your email, your name, last name. Your phone number is optional. The only ones you have to fill out is the red dots here. So email, first name, last name, and your investor type, which was retail or advisor. Most of you would be retail. You submit that, and then from that point on, if there is a notification of a new ETF that comes out, you'll receive that. And also for all of the covered call ETFs like MSTY, CONY, PLTY, and such, whenever those hit on Wednesday, you'll receive that PDF in the email so that you can see what those payouts will be. Now let's also look at those payouts. So if we go back to the home page, you can get to those distribution lists and to find out which one is in which group and such. You can either click it from here where it says announcing new distribution schedule, click here. So you can click that, or you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of each of these pages, and there you'll see also distribution schedule. So if we click that distribution schedule, it takes us right to this page here, and as you can see, you have the distribution schedule for the target 12 ETFs and distribution schedule for the groups A, B, C, and D. Now the groups A, B, C, and D are for the ones in this drop down here under cover call ETFs. That's the one where TSLY, CONY, AMDY, MSTY, PLTY, and all those are in. All of those are shown in either group A or B or C or D. So you click this button and it just takes you down the page to the location to where it shows all of those groups. So it'll show the X date and it'll show the payment date. The X date, of course, is the day that you have to own those shares by. The declaration date is just when they announce it. And the pay date here, that is, of course, when they pay out any distributions that was announced on declaration date. And this is a calendar for the entire year. As you can see, it starts off with January, and you can scroll all the way down and see that it goes all the way down to the end of 2025. And it calls out which group pays out on these days, right? So if we look, as we are coming up at the 1st of July here, we can see right here, Group D has a declaration date of July the 2nd, which is Wednesday, and that's the declaration day. The X date being the next day, and that is Thursday, July the 3rd. And normally, Friday would be that pay date, but since Friday is July the 4th, that is a holiday, so it does get shifted to July 7th, which is that Monday. And that Group D will include MSTY and a few others. Now, if you want to know what ETFs are in A, B, C, or D, you can find that just simply by scrolling down just a little bit more. And right here, we've got our weekly payers, are all of these. And in these, you've got the YMAG, YMAX, and quite a few others here. Group A is where TSLY, ZOMO, YBIT, GUI, and FEET and 5E are. Then Group B, we've got the ones like MARO, NVDY, and PLTY. Group C, we have CONY and NEFLY. And then Group D is where we have MSTY, SMCY, Winter, and YQQQ. So you can look on this list and you can determine which one you have, and then you can look up to find out what group it's in, and then scroll back up and you'll be able to see at what schedule it's on. So I just wanted to point that out, as some people were not sure what the groups meant. So I wanted to show you that it is on the website. It's broken out into groups, and it's all under that covered call ETFs section, and all of this is listed under those distribution schedules. So I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. I just wanted to really show where the things were at, how to determine which ETF is into which group and such. So now let's just go ahead and jump right into MSTY and PLTY. And let's look at the charts and let's just see if we can find out if there are any resistances or supports that we can look at to help us see possibly where we may be going next week. Okay, so here we are on the Webull charts, and we're currently looking at MSTY. The red line here that I'm showing, this red line is that dollar amount that it was when it first came out. And I can zoom way out here and you can see that's where that first candle started at $20.38. So that to me is where it first started, and therefore that is kind of that line in the sand that I would like to keep it above. Has it dropped below it? Yes, it has. But has it been above it? 100% it has. But are we below it right now? No, we are not. Now, as you can see here, we have been hitting this line and going up, coming back down, hitting again. So we keep testing this line. And I'm not saying that we're not going to break it, but I'm also not saying that we are. Currently on Friday, we did have a little bit of a red day. Let me zoom in a little bit for the people in the back. There we go. So like I said, we did have a red day on Friday. We closed at $21.41. There's that red volume, but we did go a little up after hours. Now, to figure out any kind of resistances or supports for MSTY, we look at MSTR, because MSTY, we can draw lines and we can put in areas that we want to buy, right? So I'd like for it to stay above that 2038. And whenever I go to find a buy point, of course, I'm looking at that bottom of that Bollinger Band, and I'm looking for that RSI 2 to below the 10 on the adjusted chart, as you've seen me call that out in several videos. But how about some resistances and supports? So for that, since MSTY uses MSTR as the underlying, we look at MSTR to see if there are supports and resistances that could be helping to hold MSTY up or possibly push it back down. So let's move over to MSTR, and there we go. Now, as you can see, I've got two lines in here. I've got this one where you can see this is more of a support because it is holding it up, right? We've hit it here, here, and here. And each time we've bounced off of it. So this 358.50 is considered a support in my opinion. And do we have a resistance? Well, yep. We've drawn one in right here at 394.79. And that is along the top right here. As you can see, it did come up, it hit it, and then got rejected, right? Now we've come up, we've hit it, and broke just barely past it, but it fell back down below it. So this line here at that 394.79, that is a bit of a resistance for MSTR. And if MSTR can break above that, then hopefully we can get MSTY to follow suit. But what we really need MSTR to do is to get out of this range. And as you can see, we've been in this range for a little bit, for just over a month actually. And that could be why we may see a bit of a lower distribution this pay period. But only time will tell on that. But if we can get these candles to break out of this range, then we can start seeing a little bit more volatility and unknown of where that price is going, therefore juicier premiums, and ultimately boosting our distribution. But like I've said before, you've got to have your up days, you've got to have your down days, and then you've got to have your trading sideways days. You can't have just up days forever. It's just not possible. So those distributions can't always be super juicy. Sometimes you've got to have some mediocres, and then sometimes, unfortunately, you've got to have some that may not make you as happy. But for me, I'm in for the long haul. So as long as they're paying me a distribution, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to wait for the volatility to increase again. So in the same sense, let's just take a look at PLTY, and let's just see if it has any resistances or supports that can help us understand where it's been and where it could be going. All right, so here we are on PLTY. Now, as you can see, on Friday, we had a heck of a red candle here, right? This thing dropped $5.5, an 8.2% drop. So ouch on that, right? But do notice, we did have this support line right here. And where did it come down to? Right there, pretty close to that support line. It came down, and that support line tried to stop it, right? But to better understand possibly where it could be heading, let's go take a look at PLTR and check out to see if we can find supports and resistances that can help push PLTY back up or hold it in place. All right, so here we are on Palantir, and this is PLTR, which is the underlying for PLTY, PLTY. Now I have this line here as it was a support line, right? Over here it was actually resistance. As you can see, it went up, touched it, and came back down. Went up, touched it, rejected, come back down. Went up, touched it, and then started trying to break through it, and then broke through. And then what did it do? Well, previous resistances could become future supports. So what did it do right after this point? Well, we'll zoom in here so we can get a better look at the candles. And as you can see right here, it came down, got close to it, and then bounced off of it. It went on up, and then it came down and broke through it. Now what do we do? Well, it is down below this support line that we had here. As it was a support line, it did break through it and did actually close below that support line. But does this mean that it has changed direction? You have to wait on the next candle to see what it's going to do, as just because it did drop this big nasty red candle here, you could have a green candle come in on Monday and it could engulf this entire candle. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but it could. And if you get another candle that engulfs this candle, it just basically takes over. That almost can be considered canceling this big drop, right? And you get it to engulf, that's a big positive sign that it could be moving on up. Now that's a huge candle to engulf, right? Because that was a $13.5 drop, a 9.37% drop. So ouch on Palantir. Woo, that's tough. But because it did close below it, it does not mean that this now would become a resistance, right? Because I want to see, in order for that to have changed directions, I need a full candle to either live under this support or resistance line, just depends on which side of it you're on, right? If it was previously a support and we want to still call it a support line, then we need this next candle to stay above it, right? If it is fully above it and does not run through this support line, then that is possibly a false breakdown right here. And therefore, we could get candles continuing on up. But if on Monday it comes out and that candle on Monday is going through that line like that, then again, it's undecided if it's holding the support or if it's a breakdown. But if that candle on Monday or any following day and that candle looks like this and it is under that support, the full candle is under it, then that is a confirmation of that breakdown. And therefore, you could be seeing this to move on down. And then this same line here that was a support right here will now then become a resistance yet again. So if that candle lives under the line, then that's a confirmation of a breakdown. Then this line becomes a resistance line again. If that candle is going through that support or touches it, it does not confirm that breakdown. It is still undecided. If that candle lives above this line and does not touch it, then this is a false breakdown, and we could see some more upward movement on Palantir. And this would work and is true for any stock or ETF, in my opinion. Just understanding what's a false breakdown and a true breakdown. And it all depends on that next candle. And if that next candle does not confirm it because it is living through that line or it's touching that line, then you have to wait on the following candle. One of those candles will give you that confirmation. It will either be a candle on the bottom for the next one after that one, or it will be one that's above it, which tells you that these were false breakdowns. Now, it could be the next candle, it could be the second candle, it could be the third candle. It will happen, you just don't know at what point. So for Palantir, like I said, we currently have this support at this 135.28. We do have a potential breakdown, but it is not confirmed. And we do have a resistance, and that resistance line we can draw in right here. And we'll draw that line right in that area there. As you can see, it came up, touched it right here, kind of came down, went up, kind of broke through it, but came back below it. Next candle went up above it, but came back down. Again, both of these are not fully confirmed because they are going through that resistance line, and the fact that it is closing under that resistance line just means that that resistance is being held. And then, of course, that next day, it touched it, and then it fell back down. Now, the thing is it did fall so hard, it went right through our support at the bottom. But like I said, it is not confirmed that that is a confirmed breakdown. Only the following candles will tell you that. So I hope that kind of gives you some ideas of those supports and resistances of what we're seeing, in my opinion, on PLTY and MSTY. And notice that those resistances that we're looking at are actually on the underlying of those stocks, because PLTY and MSTY only move according to Palantir and MSTR. So it makes sense to do the supports and resistances on Palantir and MSTR to better understand where MSTY and PLTY could possibly be going, breaking through or not breaking through, or trading just sideways. But we will see as the week continues. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, it'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.